Throughout history, rulers have often risen to power at a young age, unprepared for the burdens of leadership. Some matured into just rulers, while others fell into cruelty, tyranny, and madness. The line between circumstance and choice is blurred, but the following stories of infamous kings reveal how power can corrupt, or how flawed men can destroy nations. Charles IX ascended to the French throne in 1560 at just 10 years old, following the accidental death of his father, Henry II, and the passing of his elder brother. Too young to rule, power initially rested in the hands of his mother, Catherine de' Medici, a shrewd and ambitious regent. France at this time was torn apart by religious conflict between the Catholic majority and the Protestant minority, known as Huguenots. Catherine attempted compromise with the Edict of January, 1562, granting Protestants limited tolerance. But Catholic hardliners opposed any concessions, and tensions exploded into violence. The Duke of Guise personally initiated the massacre of Vassy, slaughtering worshippers in a Huguenot church, igniting the French wars of religion. Charles grew up amid assassination attempts, rebellions, and financial ruin. In 1572, Catherine arranged a marriage between Charles's Catholic sister Margaret and the Protestant leader Henry of Navarre, hoping to unify the factions. Many Huguenot leaders traveled to Paris for the wedding. Instead, paranoia took hold. Fearing conspiracy, Charles ordered the murder of Admiral Coligny, a prominent Huguenot. His death triggered the St. Bartholomew's Day massacre. Over the next weeks, thousands of Protestants were murdered in Paris and across France. Haunted by the bloodshed, Charles swung between boasting of the slaughter and despairing over it. His health declined rapidly, worsened by tuberculosis. He died in 1574 at the age of 23, tormented and broken. Whether Charles was evil or simply a pawn of his mother's schemes remains debated, but his reign is forever stained by the massacre. Peter I of Castile inherited the throne in 1350 at just 16 after his father, Alfonso XI, succumbed to the Black Death. Nicknamed both Peter the Cruel by his enemies and Peter the Just by his supporters, his rule was marked by passion, brutality, and paranoia. Peter's early reign was turbulent. Though married to Blanche of Bourbon in a political union, he abandoned her within days, favoring his mistress Maria de Padilla. Blanche was imprisoned and died years later under mysterious circumstances, likely on Peter's orders. This disregard for alliances earned him enemies among the nobility. Yet Peter also sought to centralize power and protect commoners and minority groups, including Jews and Muslims. The nobility, threatened by his reforms, rebelled repeatedly. Peter responded with ruthless executions, personally overseeing the deaths of rebellious nobles and even family members. He earned a reputation for cruelty, particularly after allegedly watching a half-brother hacked to pieces. The greatest threat came from his surviving half-brother Enrique of Trastamare, supported by France and Aragon. Their rivalry sparked the War of the Two Peters. Peter initially regained his throne with English support in 1367, but his inability to reward allies left him isolated. In 1369, Enrique defeated him at the Battle of Montiel. Captured, Peter was personally stabbed to death by Enrique, ending his violent reign. In ancient China, King Zhou of Shang is remembered as one of history's most depraved monarchs. Though sources are clouded by legend, he is consistently portrayed as a tyrant corrupted by excess and cruelty. Zhou was said to be intelligent and strong, but he became utterly enthralled by his consort, Daji. Together, they indulged in extravagance, constructing pleasure gardens filled with exotic animals, drinking from pools of wine, and eating from trees hung with roasted meat. The costs drained the treasury, while subjects starved. Worse was the cruelty. Zhou devised tortures such as the roasting pillar, a bronze cylinder heated with fire, forcing victims to cling to it until they burned alive. Such spectacles entertained the king and Daji, but horrified his court. Resistance was met with immediate execution. As Zhou indulged in luxury and terror, his people turned against him. The noble Wu of Zhou raised an army, confronting him in the Battle of Mai in 1046 BC. Defeated, Zhou retreated to his palace, set it ablaze, and perished in the flames. Daji committed suicide soon after. Legend holds that she was a demonic fox spirit sent to corrupt him, but history remembers Zhou as a king destroyed by greed and cruelty. His fall ended the Shang dynasty and ushered in the Zhou dynasty. Ivan IV became the first Tsar of all Russia at the age of 16 in 1547. His early reign showed promise. He modernized the law code, created a standing army, and encouraged local self-government. But tragedy and betrayal transformed him into one of history's most feared rulers. After nearly dying in 1553, Ivan lost faith in his nobles, who had refused to swear loyalty to his infant son. He waged the Livonian War, 1558 to 1583, to gain access to the Baltic Sea, but the campaign drained Russia's resources and ended in failure. Famine, plague, and widespread suffering followed. In 1565, Ivan established the Oprotnina, a personal guard and secret police empowered to execute anyone suspected of treason. Their terror devastated the nobility and oppressed peasants. In 1570, Ivan ordered a massacre in Novgorod, believing the city planned to defect. Thousands were tortured and killed, and the city was left in ruins. Ivan's cruelty reached its most tragic moment in 1581 when, during an argument, he struck his heir, Ivan Ivanovich, with a staff, killing him. Overcome with grief, Ivan never recovered. In his final years, weakened by illness and mercury poisoning, he played chess as his body failed. He died in 1584, leaving behind a devastated Russia. From France to Spain, China to Russia, these rulers demonstrate the destructive potential of unchecked power. Charles IX's massacre, Peter the Cruel's paranoia, Zhou of Shang's extravagance, and Ivan the Terrible's tyranny each reveal different paths to the same outcome, suffering for their people and ruin for themselves. Some were victims of circumstance, others of their own nature. But in every case, history remembers them not as great kings, but as warnings of what happens when ambition and cruelty eclipse justice and wisdom.